With me today, I have a pioneering figure in the Malaysian legal system, Miss Kokila Vaani. She is the first female chairperson of Selangor Bar and is currently serves as the head of civil litigation at Kumar Chambers in Petaling Jaya. What options are available, if I may ask, for filing for divorce, particularly for individuals who are under the B40 group?
That's a good question. I think many people think divorces are expensive. I wouldn't say they're cheap, all right? But I think what is more expensive is your mental state of going through a divorce. Not many people realize it. You are paying for, you're already paying in misery, you know. The last thing you would need is actually seeing a legal bill.
Yes,
right? I really shouldn't be saying this because a lot of my lawyer friends will probably be upset. But the truth is there are many avenues because mental state has been in decline for a long time, especially
more so now. Post-pandemic.
You know, post-pandemic. Yeah. So I think the last thing you need is to be in an unhappy place,
right?
And let alone a bad marriage. I think so. The first thing when many people say like it's expensive, therefore I cannot afford it, I'm not going to look into it right now. But there are many avenues today. You can, depending on which state you belong to, you can go to the respective legal aid centers in the respective states. Each state has a Jabatan Guaman of maybe Jabatan Guaman Kuala Lumpur, Jabatan Guaman Selangor. And so you just have to go, you can Google this information, it's everywhere, depending on which state you are. Go to the nearest Jabatan Guaman, which is handled by lawyers, all right? This is a legal aid by the lawyers of that particular state.
Right.
So if you're married in that particular state or you're living in that particular state for after marriage you've moved to that state, go and consult them. Okay. They will usually have a means test. Means test is to see what is your means, you know. That means how much can you afford and whether you can qualify under these programs or these schemes, legal aid schemes given by them. If you're still a bit wary, then go to this federal government also has this thing called Jabatan Guaman and Putrajaya and many other places as well, which is an initiative by the government to help you go through these divorce cases as well, to file divorces with them. Okay. The rates are much cheaper. Of course, the means test, a lot of states, different states have made different requirements.
Right.
That's something that I think you have to check because, of course, earning powers in different states are also different, right? So it goes based on that. I think in Selangor, I think it was the means of the family must be, if I'm not mistaken, must be 2,500, the household income, or 3,000. But in Selangor, there's something special. When I was the chair of Selangor Bar, we worked with the Selangor state government and we have this thing called the Dana Bantuan Guaman Selangor, which gives you a rate of 4,000 household income. All right, or 5,000 household income, but you have to be someone who is a rakyat from Selangor, or you have to be staying in Selangor for the past 10 years. And they will have this. What the Selangor Bar will then do is they will assign you a lawyer from them. So you just have to see that lawyer and then you get it sorted. And there are 7,000 lawyers in Selangor you can choose from. So that is an extra initiative in Selangor. But in KL, I know the legal aid in KL who doing they also have many legal aid cases for divorce especially. You can go and see them, get some advice. I think you have to pay just the disbursements and all that. So the legal cost will be minimal, will be of course be paid by client. But I do not think it will be anything more than 3,000.
Okay, that's good to know because we have a section of our community that find it difficult on a day-to-day basis. Let alone to go through this mental anguish and then decide on parting ways, you know, and go through a divorce. So a lot of them suffer through that process because they feel that they cannot afford legal fees. So it's good to know that they have Jabatan Guaman, and I think every state, as you said, have different qualifications, and then they just have to look it up. So,
or you can even go to the federal one that
federal
I
one,
mentioned, the Jabatan Guaman.
Guaman, which is Dana Bantuan.
Dana Bantuan is for Selangor.
Selangor.
there's Jabatan Guaman in Putrajaya, which is the government one.
Right.
So you can actually just choose. I think many people don't know this, so they find it very difficult,
Correct.
to go and find a private lawyer. But I think, why don't you see whether you qualify for this first?
Right.
And then sometimes if you qualify for that, then you will be assigned a government lawyer and it will be much easier. The Dana Bantuan Guaman, that was a private lawyer in Selangor Bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
If, say, someone is worried about, I don't want to go and see a legal expertise, I don't want to see a lawyer first, are there any non-legal avenues for them to seek advice, help them have some clarity on the challenges that they're going through?
I think there are NGOs who look into it, but what I suggest, which is something that's great in Singapore, because in Singapore, before you file for divorce, you must go for a mandatory mediation, which I think it's fantastic. In Malaysia, we have also started mediation. You can go to the Malaysian bar and get your mediation. The courts also do mediation as well, but I think it's a great way because it involves children, it involves their emotions, it involves parties, and most often they're not in divorce scenarios. It's feelings and emotions more than just money. Like it's very different from a company suing their suppliers for money or debt recovery. This is a long-lasting thing. So I always feel that mediation or a negotiation or settlement, there's also something new that's coming up, I think in overseas is there. It's called collaborative family practices. So that means you try to do this divorce try to collaborate with everyone, parties involved, so no one actually goes back thinking that they have lost, or nobody goes back feeling bitter about what has happened. This is to promote some good feelings among parties, and that the kids will not be so out of it, they will actually still feel that they still have their father and the mother together. I think this mediation is something that I think we should always look at for family matters.
So the mediation is done by the legal expertise itself?
Yes, by certified mediators who can be lawyers. Sometimes there are not lawyers as well who are certified, but they're usually certified mediators. In the courts will usually be the judges or the senior assistant registrars or the deputy registrars who are court officers who will actually handle this.
How do you go about looking for those mediators? I mean, do you go to legal aids, they will advise, or is there particular organizations or bodies?
Like I said, you can go to the state legal aids
so they
clinics,
will,
or you can even go back to the Malaysian Bar, has the Malaysian Mediation Center, International Malaysian Mediation Center, and they will then, you can pay the fee, and then you can ask them to look, we have this thing, so we'd like to mediate this matter, and I do not really want to go to court and see how it goes.
Okay, all right.
The courts also have a mediation center, Pusat Mediasis in all the courts.
I think a lot of people are unaware about mediation. For them, it's do or die situation when they decide on doing something like this.
I think it becomes worse when one party, when it's a single petition. A single petition meaning when one person files for a divorce, and then the other person is not ready. A joint petition, I think, will be something that, of course, mediation will be very good because you already come to the point that, look, it's not working out, and now it's just about the terms and our children. And how we're going to move forward from here. Single petition, of course, there's a lot more, there's a lot more anger and emotions involved. It may, but you'll be surprised. There's many angry clients who started with single petition who actually then later go for mediation or even court. It will become a joint petition. Because they feel like, it is really difficult when one person wants to be divorced and you do not want to be divorced. So I think even the courts, when that happens, a lot of them will usually say, like, how can we compensate? Because you cannot continue wanting to live with the person who wants to divorce you, right? I think, so this mediation and all this other alternative dispute resolution from not going to court or out of court settlement, definitely good. I remember one actually wanted to file, they filed this deed of settlement. you know, and they put this children and what was wanted, what they wanted, and they actually drew up a deed of settlement outside court, you know. So there's many ways to look at it, but I think I think we are still a very, when divorce happens, we are very angry. We don't usually think we want to win. Everybody wants to win. Therefore, mediation, sometimes people think like, oh, I don't want to settle. I want to fight this.
Right. Get as much as I can.
Yes.
You know?
Because I am right.
Yeah.
You know?
Because I've put in that amount, that much.
Yes, yes.
You know, vested so much into
that's
that.
Right, that's
vested
right.
so much into that relationship.
Yeah.
Why should I just walk away with nothing?
Nothing.
You know, and I think that is that the right word to say? But the conundrum many people go through.
Yeah,
because
I have heard words like, you know, I want to rinse the other person dry.
Right.
And I'm like, rinsing, okay. You know,
the effect of media.
I know,
you know,
rinse, you know, and I'm like, okay, yeah. And a lot of them, I think, maybe, I don't know whether a few years later, they will look back and say, maybe I should have just, you know, gone for something more lesser. You know, maybe this I would have got better. You realize that when you actually go through these avenues, you get more.
Right.
Because parties calm down. In fact, I think there's one sessions where a few sessions are not you talking about the divorce. It's just about getting to know you and what you want, what you really want. You know?
And especially if it's a single party, as you were saying.
Yes, yeah.
Perhaps through a mediation, the other party will have an understanding of what is happening.
Yes.
Because a lot of times I think when you speak to a lot of people, they turn around and say, I've been telling this is what it is, they don't listen. But with a mediation, you have a third party involved, correct?
Yeah.
So then that person is going to put a lot of things into perspective and also, I guess, control the emotions in a way.
Yeah. And I remembered like one, and it was initially I thought it's all about the money, right? And eventually, after a few negotiations, it's just that she wanted to be heard by the other person.
Something as simple as that.
Yes, it's as simple as that. And finally, she decided, no, I don't need this money because I've already been heard, so that's enough.
So nice. So can I just say is that, and to tell our viewers as well, is should someone be considering going through a divorce, look at mediation first as an option.
Yes, definitely.
Perfect.
I think because especially in the UK and in Singapore, our neighboring countries, they've already made it a mandatory thing. That means no matter what, if it's a family-related matter, a divorce matters, or children and custody matters, you have to mediate. Only when mediation fails, you come back to the courts. You know, so it's a precondition before you file your claim in court. So I think that's something that we should look at because it helps. I mean, at least you know you have tried to sit down and handle it in the best way possible. Okay. You know, and parties must understand mediation or any settlement is a win-win situation. That means both parties win.
Right.
You know, I think the problem is when the parties do not want the other person to win.
Right. Comment section below. We'll try to address it in our next episode.